Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Conversations with Love. I am your host, Rhonda Love, and welcome to my podcast. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So I need you to call a friend and tell them to pull up, tune in, and let's get this conversation started. Hey, 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 welcome to Conversations with Love. I am your host, Rhonda Love, and welcome. Y'all, we got something we're going to really go deep on today, and I've got a dear friend here who's going to help lead this conversation, and her name is Dr. Michelle Carter, and she is a licensed therapist, if I can get it out, y'all, for real. And I truly am excited to have her here today because we're going to go from the angle of a movie that many of you all may or may not have gotten an opportunity to see, and it's called Straw. So just hold on, because before we go into that, I do want to give Dr. Carter the
Michelle.
opportunity. Okay, you know what, girl? I got to
Yes,
give you your
Michelle.
props first,
Thank
at
you.
least, and then I'll go into the friendship. So, but Michelle or Dr. Carter, I just want her to at least just give you all a little bit of background about who she is, what she's done, and what she's doing currently as it relates to helping those of us who are dealing with any, and I'm just going to use this term, it may not be correct, but any mental health issues that we may be going through right now. So, Michelle or Dr. Carter, share who you are with the audience
And
today.
that's all of us. We are all dealing with some mental health issues, especially in the political climate and all the things that's going on in the world today.
That part.
Every single one of us. So thank you for having me. I am Michelle, and I am a licensed therapist. I do some clinical work with an organization in Louisville. So I'm a contract therapist for them because my primary job or my daytime job is that I serve as an administrator in higher education.
Oh, wow.
But the background for me in therapy is I've been in therapy for about since 2018, and most of my positions have been in the higher education setting. So I've served as a therapist at a local HBCU. I served as the director of the counseling center there. And now in my current role, I am serving as the associate vice president of community and access at Christian College in rural Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Under which part of my department is the counseling services there as well. So I do still perform therapy, provide therapy, but it's usually after hours by telehealth.
Okay, gotcha. And I'm just curious, in your experience thus far, are you seeing, especially as it relates, because you deal with a lot of young people, so is there a difference even between, let's say, male and female? Are you seeing more male students or more female, or is it really just a combination?
Statistically, usually women are more open to therapy, especially in our culture and our community. There is a stigma that we have surrounded for many years, especially in black men, younger black men. But at the college age now, there's a movement where people are really, I call them ambassadors for mental health. They are really stepping up, encouraging people to understand that mental health is not it's not a bad thing. It it's not a weakness. It is actually a strength. And so to go to therapy, think of it as you go to a physician every year.
Right.
And so when you go to your physician every year to make sure that your physical health is well, your mental health is equally important, because what happens in your mind affects every single thing of your body.
Oh, that's so true.
So we're trying to help remove that stigma amongst African Americans.
Yeah, and I think when you specifically say as African American or as Black people, there is the stigma even, and I'm going to just say this, in the church, that says you don't. And I'm not going to lie. At one point early on, I can't say I was in agreement I agreed or I disagreed. It was just kind of like, okay, that's just how it is. But a part of that is because how we were raised, right?
Yeah,
And we
historically.
were raised to say, let's pray about it. And don't get me wrong, I
Prayer
do.
works.
I am absolutely going to say, knowing God and having that relationship with Him and praying and having your dear saints to pray for you is the first and most important thing. But to your point earlier, which was if we're going to the physician and we're getting prescriptions because of illnesses that we have or disease states that we're experiencing and going through, and those things are helping us, then why can't we not at least have, and it may be spiritual counsel.
Help your mind. And we've
Yeah.
always had spiritual counseling. People have always gone to their pastors, whether the
Absolutely.
pastor was professionally trained or not. But I am seeing a movement even in churches where they are encouraging. They even sometimes offer some counseling service. Like I attend Southland Christian Church, and they actually have a counseling service provided there for you at no cost. And so the verbiage now is God plus therapy is dope. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, so because I know we've got a lot to cover and I'm excited, especially, and I said earlier, we're going to use the movie Straw, which is
Yes.
a movie that was created and directed by Tyler Perry. And I will say that I know for some folks, there's this conversation about Tyler. Okay, we're going to leave that. But what I am going to give him credit for is this movie in terms of sparking the conversation
Yeah.
about mental health and particularly how it affects Black women. Okay. And I'm also, if I can, like I said before, we're using it as an example. So there are many things going on within this story. And for people who haven't had an opportunity to see it, I don't want to take away from it. And so there are going to be some things that I won't point out.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm trying to point out those major things. And I know you and I had a conversation and you just got a chance to see it as well. Okay. So what I want to ask is that, again, using it as a reference, how does it highlight or impact, this movie, mental health on Black women? Do you think? What's your thoughts?
Oh, I think it highlighted how we fall into this ideation that we always have to be strong, that we are weak if we ask for help. There was a moment in the movie, and I'm not going to spoiler alert, where someone offered financial help to her, and she was like, her pride
Yes.
was didn't allow her to take that, and it may not have helped a lot, but just the thought that she had this standard of and this idea that she could not accept that. I love the integrity of the character in the movie, but the thing that I felt like I saw was our pride can sometimes be a barrier to getting the help that we need.
Absolutely. And I think for most of us as Black women, and let's just even say historically, we've carried a lot, right?
We had to.
We had to. And you're so right. We've carried a lot. And I think sometimes the thing that I kind of drew from that, because I know what scene you're talking about, but also this thing of not accepting the help. But then there's also this thing of you feeling alone.
Yeah.
And that was something that I think as Black women, and the question is, why do we feel like we must be the ones to carry everything, whether it's the family, whether it's the finances, whether it's the community, whether it's even within our personal struggle?
I mean, I think it ties back to the history of who we are, where our families were separated. They would take the men away from us, and just the torture of trying to hold your family together. And what they say, never let them see you sweat. So I think we developed this strength in like just covering, masking. Even we mask our hurt, we mask our trauma, and that is the barrier for saying, "Hey, I do need help." And we don't want to be seen as weak. We
Yes.
we want to feel like we can stand on our own 2 feet to our own detriment.
And so how do you think that strong women stereotype, if you will, affects our willingness to seek the help?
Oh, I think it does. We make excuses, whether it's time, because a lot of times it is excuses. We're busy. She had multiple jobs. She had a child to take care of, and I'm not going to go into all the details of that child, but those are very real issues. And I think we don't put ourselves first. We don't make ourselves a priority. We're so busy caring for everybody else, whether it's work, it's family. You and I talked a little bit earlier today about, aging parents. I'm in that sandwich generation where I'm still helping a daughter and trying to take care of my dad. I'm trying to work on this job. I'm doing therapy on that job. I'm a veteran. I'm trying to be involved with vet services, with all the things that's going on in the world. We overload ourselves, and when we recognize that, sometimes we don't pull back, and so we burn out. And then sometimes we simply don't know how to get the help. We can't afford the help sometimes.
Right.
It's a multitude of barriers that prevent us from getting the help that we need.
Yes, yes. And it's funny that you say that, because I think I have a lot of friends who try to do a lot of things.
Jesus is
Okay. And now I will say for myself, and I know my husband probably laugh on me on this, it's a little easier for me to pull back. Now that's one thing. Now I still have things that I struggle with and I deal with, but that is the one thing that I can do, I think, a little bit better than some of what I see some of my friends. Like, I mean, they're running here, they're doing this, they're doing all this for everybody. And then sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes there's this guilt, because I'm like, maybe I need to be running and doing and, all that.
You don't.
But exactly.
Trust me, you don't.
But what is it? And maybe I will say, maybe this is not even about being a black woman. Maybe it's just being a woman. But what is it about, or a person, that we cannot pull back and say, let's say, for instance, to say, no, I can't do this, or it's just too much? What do you think that is?
I think it's a variety of things. I think it's some people chasing their dreams. I think sometimes it is a standard, a way of life. Sometimes I think it's the way we're wired. My girlfriends tell me all the time that I have way too much energy. It's like I can't sit still, or I can't keep my mind from just like on to the next thing. But you said something that actually made me think of the movie, as it also made me think of myself. And what is the lady's name? I think it's she's the singer that's dating she was the police.
Oh yeah, Taylor. Oh, I know who you're talking about.
What's her name?
I cannot think
We got
of
to
the
get
actress.
help. We
I
need
know,
your son
and
in here
I
to help
really
us get help. Yeah. But anyway, she dates that really nice-looking black man, Pierre or something. So anyway, she could relate to the lady, the main character, right?
Yes.
I can relate. Rhonda, you can't relate. You've got Daryl. You've never been this single mother. And so sometimes when the weight of that falls on you, you will take on additional things just to try to make ends meet, just to try to stay on top of bills and all the things, or even to store things away. I say this all the time because someone said to me the other day, they said, girl, when do you sit down? Like, I work 5 days, 6, 7 days a week. And I said, I need to take my real estate license because I've taken the class, but I haven't taken the exam. Licensed therapy, notary of the public, certified mediator, serving with the veterans, got my daytime job, got my part-time job. And I said, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know I don't want to be broke.
That part.
I'm a single black woman doing it all. And so I think sometimes we overload ourselves just trying to prepare for the things ahead. Society right now and politics has me fearful of my retirement. So trying to stack my coins makes me put more on my plate sometimes than what I need to.
Right.
So I think individual lives and things that are going on in different lives, there's a variety of reasons why we take on sometimes more than we can chew or should.
And I think you do bring up a good point, Michelle, because there are those of us that are not single, right, and carrying the load by ourselves. And that you're right. And I think when I personally was watching the movie, because I ain't gonna lie, I was texting one of my girlfriends and I was like, "Hey, have you seen Straw?" And she's like, "Girl, I saw it yesterday." And I'm like, I'm sitting here boohooing. She was like, "No," she said, "I boohooed through the whole thing." And I was like, I texted her, "I'm boohooing right now." And I think it was because even though I wasn't single, but I felt her.
Probably
And
as
it
a
was
mother.
as a mother, and I tell you, and I am gonna call out because I don't think it's gonna totally take away from those who haven't seen the movie. But there were a couple of things, and I do want to ask you, what were some of the things that you pulled or things that she said. But I'm gonna start by saying there was one thing that she said that really resonated with me, and she said, "Black women always have something to get over." Because I was taking notes. I was writing. I said, "Ooh," when she said that, I said, "Oh," I said, "Black women always have something to get over." And that in itself, it didn't matter if you were married or not. That was for real. Because I thought, for me personally, the first thing that I thought about was being in a corporate environment. And that's something what resonate for all of us, right? And you're trying to do your due, and no matter what you do, sometimes it's still not good enough, or maybe you don't feel like it's good enough, right? But it's always something that we're trying to get over. And anywho, but that was one, and let me please share if you can think of something
I can't verbatim
Okay.
remember anything
or
that she
seen.
said. Oh, but what I saw, what I loved most in that movie was she was the bank manager. I can't think of her name.
The Nicole girl, I wrote her name down.
Yeah, what's her real name though?
Oh, yeah, the
But
actor.
anyway,
Yeah.
yes. Anyway,
Yes.
she had this amazing compassion. Her compassion and her kindness was what really captured me most about the movie. No takeaway from Taraji and her character and all that she was going through, but my whole mindset. So let me just give you a little context about this. I am the associate vice president of community and access. So my major goal is helping everyone to see beyond themselves into something or someone else, because what affects us affects everybody, right? So here's an example. I have a friend who used to say that something about the Mexicans at Walmart. If her car had a ping, she was like, "It was the Mexicans at Walmart, and I don't know why they're up here shopping. Why can't they shop somewhere else?" I said, "Where are they supposed to go? Where else are they supposed to shop? Because when it happened to us, we didn't like it.
Right.
So when it's happening to someone else, why would you say that?" So I see things different than a lot of black women. Somebody said I'm not your average black woman. I love the opera, I love the ballet and all the things. I love people, and I think the compassion of that character was what I tapped into, especially with the climate and the national narrative right now. If we could have that kind of compassion and kindness, because you don't never know what somebody's going through or what that one thing was. And she had multiple things just hitting her second after second that
Absolutely.
any person can snap
Absolutely.
at any given moment. And so when you're at the grocery store and that woman might not be as courteous, you don't know if she's Taraji P. Henson's character. She couldn't pay her bills. She's been evicted. She's got a sick child. That's what really stood out to me most, was the compassion, not just of her, but of what's the lady's name? She's a singer. She dates Pierre somebody. She divorced the basketball player. Tiana Taylor.
And I said Taylor.
We gotta get with
Yeah.
it. She had this amazing intuition from her own personal experience that we can tap into our own personal experience
Right.
to show compassion towards others and teach others. She had to teach that entire police crew outside Like, so each one teach one. Like,
Yes.
we are all broken. We mask it. We don't talk about it. I'm a very private person, so I am very select about who I allow in my circle. So that you even got me on this podcast, girl, I'm telling you, I love you so much.
Oh,
Because I struggle with allowing people into my intimate space, and I think that's another barrier for us. We struggle trusting people that we can be honest with about our trauma.
Right. Now, I will say for me, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm the person who is always willing to share. Now, I can't say, everything in my life, but I've shared a lot of enough. So I remember saying if there was one thing I would tell my younger self, it would be to shut up.
Really?
Yes, because I've shared too much.
I say I'm an introvert, trained to be an extrovert. My job makes me talk, therapy makes me talk. But in a lot of settings, around a lot of people, or having to even go to a conference or a workshop or something, it's exhausting for me. So knowing yourself is important too. Self-care.
Yes.
Do the things that you need to do to I say find my zhush. To center myself and just re-energize so that I can't be good to my kids or my parents or take care of anybody else if I'm not taking care of myself first. And that's what speaks out to me about Taraji's character. She put every single thing before herself.
She did. And you know what? I kind of want to go back to the bank manager because I wrote down in one of the scenes, there was this conversation. And Tahaji, okay, Janelle, I think it was her character, Janae, can't remember. Janaya, that's it. And she said, and I put on here as a note, most powerful. She said, I never had anybody to stand behind me. I boohooed. Then, but the banker said, but you got me.
And walked out with her.
And she did. And why that was so important to me, because I think as Black women, there are times that we can be, as any woman, let me emphasize that, okay? But I'm Black or white. But as Black women, sometimes we are not taking each other by the hand and saying, I got you, sis. Sometimes we like, girl, I'm gonna walk away. This, okay?
Crabs in a bucket.
Do you understand? We're not.
We're crabs in a bucket. We don't want to see you get ahead of us. We'll pull you right back down. Like, there's room enough for all of us.
Yes. And my thing is just support. When you see somebody doing well, say, sis, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, rather than tear them down.
Yeah, and I've said that.
And we don't do that enough.
We don't. And I said that in one of my earlier podcasts with a guest. We've got to support one another. To your point, it's enough out there for everybody, right? But when she said, I never had anybody to stand behind me, my heart broke. Because she's like you said, she was doing all these things, right?
Taking care of everybody.
Taking care of everybody. And when the lady, I think she was saying, asking the bank advisor to take care of her daughter. And then, she was like, but you got me. You got me. And you could just see the expression and the relief in her face that, okay, somebody.
Because not even her own family, sometimes even your own family can't support you depending on what they have going on. I think her mom, she was concerned about some abuse issues or something maybe, but there's power in community. Nobody can do life by themselves. We all need somebody. We all need help. I think of mental health therapy as like a tune-up for your car. You can't keep driving the car and expect it to be high-functioning without a tune-up.
Right.
And every now and then, you go to therapy. I'm a therapist. I go to therapy because every good therapist has a good therapist.
That's funny because that was something I was going to ask, and I was always curious.
Yeah.
What does a therapist do when they have their own personal struggles?
I mean,
and
think about
issues?
it. If you are constantly, I say, allowing others to dump on you. So it's not, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
basically, therapy is you're coming into a space with someone that doesn't know you, and you're taking on everything that one client has said, and then another client comes in. And so they're constantly dumping on you. So even if you don't feel like you have your own stuff that you need to get off of you, you need to get all of that stuff where people are dumping on you off. You need to process those things. You need to think about those things. But yeah, I think we all need a tune-up.
Yes, and I love that because I literally I thought, how do you all cope for yourself?
You do. You recognize your triggers. You recognize when burnout is coming up on you. You take the necessary steps.
So, what do you think kind of are some of the things that we can do? One, to be a help and an aid to those like a Taraji. You know what I'm saying? How can we help those persons?
I think if you encounter someone like that, you can connect them. I do a lot of connecting because as a therapist, we don't provide therapy to people that we know. We call that a dual relationship. And it's not effective because the same way I could talk to you, you wouldn't necessarily receive it because you're probably trying to wonder what's my agenda. You know, I'm biased. And so I refer out. We promote it on our campus through student ambassadors. Student athletes are advocates of counseling. Building community, making it affordable. Like, how can you assist? Make sure that they're connected to their EAP programs on their jobs. I have a young daughter the same age as your son, and she works for the state. And oftentimes I'm like, make sure you tap into your EAP. And it's not just about when the moments happen. It's about recognizing it and catching it before it does. So don't wait till you're burnt out. You know, when you're tired and exhausted, I say it all the time, like sometimes I even have to unplug. So just be an advocate. Find out how you can get them connected. What kind of support do they need? And just help to remove the stigma. Make it positive. Don't make it something negative. Normalize it. Have those regular conversations about it. The other people have been going to therapy since the beginning of time. We're just now catching on to it. It's the same way as they were reading and writing while we were sitting back, and and they didn't want us to read and write. They didn't want us to tap in.
Right.
So yeah, we just need to tap in. There's no shame in it. It's
Yeah.
actually very commendable and honorable. I love it, especially when I see Black men go to therapy. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh,
I need my daughter's husbands to be mentally well.
right. That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. And speaking of that, and I was trying to find a note that I had written because I was on Instagram, and there is this a group or page of Black men, and they talk about Black men mental health, and they mention the thing within that sector is the hidden cry. Lord brought me right to it. The hidden cry, where they hide the cry, okay, and they're not going to be as emotional I'll just say as emotional as we as women, and in terms of releasing and then sharing that with other
Right.
Black men, right? Because nobody's life is 100%. Nobody's life is perfect, without struggle, without problem, without whatever. And as Black men, they too carry their own burden. I'm gonna have to have me a roundtable discussion with some Black women and Black men,
yes.
just about that very
But
thing.
having those conversations, I think mentorship is important too. I got about probably 329.2 mentors, mentees. I have a couple of mentors myself, but I have a million. I remember your husband came up to me one day. He was in Louisville, and he said, "Girl, how many daughters do you have?" And I was like, "Why do you say that?" He said, "I saw a girl in Louisville, and she was like, 'Oh yeah, that's my mom. That's my other mom.'" And I said, "Well, I have 2 biological daughters. I have 1 daughter-in-law, but I have about 529.10 pseudo daughters." But mentor, and then that mentor can develop skills to mentor someone else. And then as you build that relationship, you recognize things. Like I can recognize when something is off in one of my mentees, and I'll say, "Hey, call me. Like, let's talk about it." And so even some of my former students from the HBCU that I worked at, they still reach out and they'll say, hey, I got this problem. And, so listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need someone to listen to them.
Now I'm learning that. Sometimes you do. You just, and even, and hey, I'll be slightly transparent. Even let's say if I'm talking to my husband, it's not necessarily a mental health thing, but it's just having conversation.
Yeah.
And maybe I am dealing with or struggling with something. And I will say to him sometimes, I just need you to listen.
We
No
just want to be
response is
heard.
needed. Yes.
Got to get it off of you. You got to,
Yes.
because if you don't, it will manifest itself in your body through various ways. Your physical health, your mental health. Like stress is real, and if you don't get it off of you, it could kill you.
And I think as we kind of wrap this up, I think that's what we saw in Straw.
That's exactly what
The
we
mental
saw.
health, and without giving the story away,
And the stress.
and the stress and what it kind of evolved into, right?
that one
and
last straw
That
broke.
the camel's back.
It sure did.
And
it
that was a
did.
good title. Good look at you, Tyler. We'll give you a look at it.
Okay.
Just a look good.
We'll save that for another day.
Just on that. Just in terms
Just
of the,
on that. Okay, kudos, Tyler.
Yeah,
that's a
sometimes we gotta
kudos.
give. What did I heard? My pastor said the clock can be right is
Twice a day.
There you go.
Even a broke clock can be right twice a day.
Exactly. So, hey, do you, Tyler? But do you, whomever, whatever. But that being said, I do appreciate you being here, and we are. This is not over because I have I always say I have a lot of ideas and a lot of conversations that I want to have. And I've got something that I'm really kind of trying to pull together. But anyway, that being said, Dr. Michelle Carter, I am so glad that you came and we had this conversation.
Yes, it
and
was nice talking to you.
Yes, and sharing, and hopefully someone out there, one, if you get an opportunity to go check out Straw, it's on Netflix still. Take a look at it, examine, maybe have some of your own personal conversations with your group of friends. And two, I would just say, make sure that if you know someone or yourself, to seek the help. And I'm going to ask you this before I go. Are you taking new people?
I do. They will go through. I work out of a firm in Louisville,
Okay.
and so yes, they are constantly taken. And I have a little pro tip. And this is me sharing. And I'm not going to do a spoiler alert. But as you watch Straw, make sure you're in a good, healthy state of mind because it can be really heavy. And so one of the things I do to protect my mental health is I'm very responsible about what I see when I see it. It's a really good movie, but I had to be mentally prepared to even watch it because the triggers will go off. And when you see those things and triggers go off, so you have to pay attention. So yeah, that's a pro tip. It is a good movie, but you do need to be mentally ready.
Absolutely.
In a good state of mind. I don't even watch the news anymore. It's so depressing. And I don't like going to bed feeling heavy like that.
Right,
So,
right. You have to know your triggers.
You do. You have to know.
And that's for all of us.
Absolutely.
Seriously. Well, thank you again, Dr.
you.
Michelle Carter. And again, to my podcast family, I welcome you to subscribe and join the conversation with love. And I always like to leave you with a love note. And my love note for you today is you are not alone. You are not alone. And so with that, we're going to sign off. And until next time, you all take care.